So today we're going to be talking about solving multi-step equations. So first let's review the steps for this procedure. So first we're going to clear the equation of fractions by multiplying by the least common denominator, or the LCD. Then we're going to use the distributive property to remove parentheses on each side. Then we're going to combine like terms on each side, which remember this is like 5x and 3x. Okay, those would be like terms. Then we're going to undo addition or subtraction. Then undo multiplication or division as our last step. Alright, so let's do some examples. So we're going to solve for x, or whatever variable we're given. So for this first one, 7 minus 5x minus 5 minus 5x equals 4. We're going to see we don't have any fractions and we don't have any parentheses, so we're going to combine like terms. So 7 minus 5 is 2, and negative 5x minus 5x gives us a negative 10x equals 4. Then we're trying to get x by itself, so we're going to first start off with subtracting the 2 to the other side. So 2 minus 2 cancels, and we have negative 10x equals 4 minus 2, which is 2. Then to get x by itself, we're going to divide by negative 10 on both sides. And here, make sure you're being careful. If you need to, check in the calculator. 2 divided by negative 10 is going to give us a fraction. So we're going to reduce that by 2. So we're left with negative 1/5. Okay, if you plugged it in your calculator and you get a decimal, you would get negative 0.2. Alright, so now let's go across to D. Okay, so we have 15 plus 30 equals negative 5 times the quantity 6x minus 9. We don't have any fractions, but we do have parentheses. So let's actually go ahead and combine this left-hand side. 15 plus 30 is 45 equals, and now let's also distribute. So it's okay to do two steps at once if they're on separate sides. So we have negative 5 times 6x gives us negative 30x. And negative 5 times negative 9 is a positive 45. We're trying to move things away from x, so let's subtract this 45 and move it to the left. And 45 minus 45 is 0, which equals our negative 30x. To get x by itself, we're going to divide by negative 30. And anything that 0 is divided by will just leave us with 0. So we know x equals 0. Alright, moving down to B. So we have our first fraction. So here what's nice is finding our least common denominator. There's only one denominator, so that number 3 is what we're going to multiply everything by. So I'm going to write a 3 above every term, so that way we can cancel, because 3 divided by 3 goes away, and we're left with 2 times the quantity x plus 4. We have nothing to cancel here, so we have minus 3 times 8 equals 3 times 32. And now we're going to get rid of our parentheses by using the distributive property and multiplying. So 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3 times 8, 24, equals 3 times 32, 96. So we can combine like terms. We have 8 minus 24, which gives us 2x minus 16 equals 96. We can add 16 to both sides. We're left with 2x equals 112. And then divide both sides by 2. Which leaves us with x equals 56. Moving to the right, let's do e. So yes, we have a fraction here, but we're going to start off with distributing. So we're going to do 16 times 4, which gives us 64. 16 times negative 3m leaves us with negative 48m, which equals 96 times negative m over 2. So we're going to actually divide here. So we have negative, and then 96 divided by 2 is negative 48. And then 96 times 1 is 96. So when we have variables on both sides of the equations, we're going to start off with moving them to be on the same side and together. But here, negative 48m plus 48m cancels, so we're left with 64 equals 96. But this is false, so when we have a false statement, that means we have no solution. Alright, moving to C. We have 7x over 10 minus x over 2 equals 1. So we want to find our least common denominator. So what we're looking at is what number can divide 10 and be divided by 2. And that happens to be 10. Okay, if you get stuck trying to find this number, you can also just find a common denominator. And one way to do that would be just to multiply 2 times 10, which gives you 20. You'll be dealing with some larger numbers, but you'll still get to the right answer. But I'm going to use this least common denominator. So if we multiply everything by 10, put a 10 above each term, and then we're going to cancel. So 10 divided by 10 goes away. So 7x. Minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we have 5 times x, which equals 1 times 10, which is 10. 7x minus 5x, we can combine our like terms. It gives us 2x equals 10. Divide both sides by 2. And our solution, x equals 5. Okay, and our last problem, f, t minus 27 equals negative quantity of 27 minus t. So we can't do anything to the left side. But on the right side, we're going to distribute this negative. If you need to, put a 1 in front of the parenthesis to show that you're really multiplying by negative 1. So negative 1 times 27 is negative 27. And negative 1 times negative t is a positive t. So again, we have a variable on both sides, so we're going to subtract the t, and those will both cancel again. So negative 27 equals negative 27, which is true. And when this is true, this is called an identity, which means we have infinitely many solutions.